Welcome yet again to another LFC Transfer Room video, stream, YouTube content, whatever you guys want to call it. We are finally back. It's been almost a month with no content, but we have some lovely, amazing guests today. We're not in a good mood. This is actually like I'm trying to fake it as much as possible. It's been a horrible match. I'm trying not to be so down, but let me just introduce you to the guests today. We have Johnny on the right. We have Craig on the left. Let me go one by one, guys. How are we feeling, Johnny? Let's start with you, my friend.
I've had better Sunday mornings, let me tell you. Losing to Man United is never a very good feeling. I'm ready to rant. I'm ready to let some feelings out. But yeah, I'm excited to be here, man. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you so much. We definitely share the same feelings. Craig, are you in the same boat
Yeah.
as well? How are you feeling, my friend?
Oh, yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think I sent like every single person that I talked to about Liverpool immediately after the game. I just sent them an immediate text that just said pain, like just pain, physical, mental. Like I'm just in so much turmoil right now. I'm not exactly sure where to start, where to end. Like it's a really tough situation, and I'm very excited to discuss this. Let's just say that it's been a couple weeks, and I'm very excited to get into this.
Love it, love it. So let's just get started, guys. So anybody that is watching us, we currently are on live on X. We're live on YouTube. I'm having issues getting us live on Facebook, but we should be back live on there. Currently, there's 500 viewers on X and on YouTube. I think we have a few. I think it's like five on YouTube. So let's get this ball rolling. Hopefully, we get people commenting, subscribing, and just let's get the ball rolling. So just to start off with, I really want to start off with the positives. Was there any positive at all from today's game, guys? Because I'm watching the game and it was just a horrendous display. It's very hard for me to just pinpoint something and be like, okay, I like this guy. This guy played well. But for me, there's just very little positives. Johnny, let's start with you. Is there any positives from today's games, at least from your perspective?
Um, yeah, I do think so. I think somebody that has been labeled a scapegoat for us most of this season. I don't know where it's come from, but I thought Cody Gakpo today was really good. I thought he was our best player today, personally. Was it? He hit the bar, the post three times today. Felt like every time he got the ball, he was trying to create something. Whereas there's other players in the team today that were not doing anything really. So I'd say Cody Gakpo for me is probably the most positive today out of so many little positives. But yeah.
Yeah.
I do agree, and that is a big one too. We're going to be discussing that one as well. Craig, also with you, but let's get one more guest in who's right
Yeah.
now in the lobby. Wall is about to join us. There we go. Let's make sure everything looks good. Mr.
Yo, yo.
Wall, how's it going?
Yeah.
Hello,
How's-
hello.
So right now we're just discussing the whole Manchester United shit show. I'm sorry for the words, but
Yeah, man, yeah.
we're trying to start with the positives. Johnny told us at least he was happy with Cody Gakpo. Craig, did you see any positive from today?
So weirdly, like I think there's a decent amount of banging on about Kanate. Obviously, like he was a little bit out of position on that first goal. Virgil obviously could have stepped up and helped too, but Ibu was kind of out of position as well. But I think I really liked what I saw in ball progression out of him today, and I think like something that's been a really big trend is Ibu's been getting dispossessed or having a lot of sloppy interplay over on that right touch line because the right backs are still betting in. It's such like an inconsistent spot on the pitch right now. So Ibu's just like regularly getting dispossessed, and teams are taking advantage of putting pressure on him a lot. And United is never going to do that because of how rigid they are in that system. You know, they don't have the press for it. They're going to stay in their the chance, he's solid. Oh, re- looked like
You're right.
recording stopped.
We got your back. Don't
Okay,
worry.
cool. Sounds good. Cool, sounds good. But when Ibu has the time, it seems like he's just a little bit more comfortable, and it was just nice seeing him shake off a little bit of that rust. I also noticed that he had like a couple really nice tackles. Like he just seemed like he was a little bit more in position today. And then the other positive that I have I'd say like a lot of people are also talking about like the 4-2-4 and how chaotic that was. But at least we saw something like as soon as it happened in like the 62nd minute, where it was Gakpo, Isak, Ekatike, Salah, Wirtz, when it was those five guys, we saw way more interplay, way more like 1-2 touches with each other, moving the ball forward. There were like 4 or 5 chances created within like a 10-minute window where we got a lot of momentum. And I don't love throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks all the time, which seems like that's a lot of what's happening. But I love the fact that we looked at it and we were like, hey guys, we need a little bit of a spark. And the guys went out and actually got a little bit of a spark. So those are my positives. Aside from that, I'm not super positive, guys.
Interesting. Very, very interesting. I did look up the stats on Konate. It seems like he was the player with the most duels from the whole match, not just Liverpool, just also Liverpool and Man United with 8 total duels. So Craig does have a point. Mr. Wall, thank you for joining us. Now it's your time to let us know, how are you feeling?
Appreciate it.
Was there anything positive today? Anything?
Oh, you want to go with the positive? I've got a whole list of negatives there. I'm
Let's start
going
with
to
the
break it
positives,
down. Positives, yeah, for sure. I think for me that the main positives is what can we say about positives? It's very hard to get at because it's such a horrible scoreline at home. If it was away, you could probably be like, oh, you know what? It's away. We can make excuses. But at home, it's such it's so detrimental to our league title challenge and stuff. So positive wise, I'd probably go with, I think Konate's probably had his best game, which I worried about Konate because personally, I think he's gone at the end of the season. I think he's in the same cycle as Trent. If I'm honest, I think he's fluent in Spanish as well. There's something going on there. I think he's had the same teachers as Trent. He's definitely fluent in Spanish. 100%. He's definitely got the same teachers as Trent. So for me, I think Konate's gone. But I don't mind it. It's almost like the Gahey thing. Like, I don't mind if they come at the beginning of the season, like, listen, lads, I'm gone at the end of the season, but I'm going to give it my all, right? If he performs like that every single week, you can go at the end of the season, hold your head high. I get it. We don't get a transfer fee. That's probably the biggest positive in terms of, I was really worried about Konate. He's had a great game for me. That was the big highlight. I'm not really a big fan of Gakpo, but I think he did all right. But I'll go into Gakpo later on. But I think defensively we're all over the place as well. For me, the stick-out point would be, if I'm honest, I think Wirtz looked pretty good when he came on, but I've always had a good positive impact on Wirtz. I think he's a player that should start regardless if we're winning games or not. I think he looked really sharp. His 1-2 touch was a difference when we started opening up play, where I think McAllister and Sloboslai they touch, and it's like everyone's back now, where Wirtz is like touch, pass, go, and we open up play so much quicker. And I don't like this whole Gravenberch gets the ball great, but he gets the ball and it's like 1, 2, 3, and everyone's backing up. And then the small spaces are just like, it's just completely gone then. And Sloboslai does the same. He drops in, he gets the ball, it's like touch, and they're all looking for this killer pass. Where Wirtz, if you give him the pass, he turns like boom. It's like the pass is already gone before he's even received it. So yeah, I think those are the 2 highlights for me. Konate's head doesn't seem to be that gone up to now. And Wirtz for me was a solid impact coming off the bench.
Very interesting. I do agree as well on all those points. Now, I do want to say that Konate, for some reason, even though today's wasn't his worst game, for me, it seems like he is playing like a player that's already with his head at a different club. So, like,
for sure.
He's in that goal. Obviously, everybody was at fault. Cody Gakpo had to mark his man. Virgil had to do a little bit better. But just looking at Konate, he was just jogging. He didn't really put much pressure. But I do think there's a lot of mentality aspects that we need to improve in the team. There's not that hunger anymore that we had with club. I don't know if everybody's just laid back, or maybe obviously the Diogo Jota situation affected the team a lot. But I do want to think on, now that we spoke about the positives. There was a comment from Matthias de Ligt at full time that he said, we knew what the weaknesses are with this Liverpool team, and their weaknesses are their fullbacks. So my questions to you guys are, who should start as our regular fullbacks, or is our fullback or weaknesses? What do you guys think? Well, I see that you want to say something. Let me know. What do you think about that one?
No, it's funny you said, because I said this on my TikTok. Everyone points to the fullbacks, but for me, it's not the fullback. I agree with you about the eye of the tiger thing. Like, I think our hunger for the league title is completely gone. I think it'd be interesting because I think our hunger is for the Champions League. I think that chase to do the title again just seems to diminish, and I think Klopp had that in him where he was able to re-energize the team over again. I don't think Klopp maybe doesn't have that in his trait where he's able to bring that hunger back to the league. Like, here we go again. And I think maybe they saw Arsenal depth, and they don't want to really go toe in toe. I don't know. I agree with you. That eye of the tiger of the league is completely gone for me. That killer instinct. But yeah, I don't think the fullbacks. For sure that they're not the world's best, right? But for me, it's higher up the pitch. It's the Salah and Gakpo's for me, where they're such on the touchline. Like Salah, you can knock it past them. I mean, Cucurella said it. You just literally pop it around Salah, and it's 2 against 1, so easy. Gakpo hangs on the touchline. Like I call him the cutback king because every time he receives the ball, he just cutbacks every time. And that guy just like he used to track back so much with Klopp. Like that guy was so hungry, like a year ago. But now I rarely ever see him like really tracking back and busting a gut. Like he's always on the byline and just hanging out and waiting. And yeah, for me, I think it's the team dynamics. Yeah, the fullbacks aren't great, but why does it always seem like a 2-on-1? Like Ahmad, Gakpo was next to Ahmad all the time, and then all of a sudden you notice Ahmad next to Kirkez. Gakpo needs to track his man back, which then allowed Mbumo to come in, and then Virgil van Dijk was getting dragged out. Where if Gakpo just follows his man, and then Kirkez can tuck inside, we don't have that space where Virgil van Dijk is. His hair's receding for the amount of times. He just keeps coming out wide, and he's completely losing it. So yeah, for me. Yeah, the fullbacks are an issue, maybe, but it's the two wingers for me.
Interesting. I that's an interesting take as well because overall for me it's like almost 80% of the team is just horrible at this point. But I do want to ask Craig. So who are going to be your starting right back and left back in the team? Because it seems like Frimpong is not getting his opportunities at right back. He's getting more opportunities as a winger. It seems like Kirkes is not ready there. I mean, last season, Kirkes was the best left back in the league. And now it seems like he's just a shadow of what he was. Robertson is aging. He's like 30-something right now. So what are we going to do? Who are the starters for you? What do you think, Craig?
Okay, so the way that I look at it is Milos Kerkez is a better left back than Connor Bradley or Frimpong is a right back, right? Like I think all of us can be in agreement of that. I think that's a pretty like stout fact. So I think you have to keep Milos Kerkez over on the left and like center your fullback focus on Milos Kerkez. Allow Milos Kerkez to be Milos Kerkez. There's a reason we went out and spent 40 million on him. You allow him to do what he needs to do. On that right side, I actually really want to float an idea. So, like, obviously, we had Zoboslai playing at right back at the start of the season, and we saw a lot more from that situation than we've seen with Bradley and Frimpong because Zoboslai can do a lot of things, not exactly the way that Trent did, but Zoboslai has a good range of passing. He's a forward progressor of the ball. He also likes to tuck into that midfield role when he's used as a right back to provide cushion instead of being somebody who bombs all the way down the pitch like Bradley or Frimpong. So my thought is keep Zoboslai in the midfield, but put a guy like Curtis Jones at right back. I'm not crazy about Curtis Jones, but we've seen that he's a decent defender of wingers when he has to be. We know that he can tuck into that midfield role. We know that he can progress with the ball, both passing and carrying. So I think I would like to see that. Again, this is coming from somebody who just said that I don't want to throw shit at a wall and see what sticks. So I would really obviously like to see Frimpong being utilized how he should be, or Bradley rounding back into fitness. But the way that it's set up right now, the team is so unbalanced. And I think you need to gain a little bit of that balance back. And I weirdly think that a guy like Curtis at right back, at least at like the middle of the week this week in a game that's not going to be as intense as the United rivalry will be, at least try it, see what happens. So that's kind of where my head's at. And I know that's a weird shout, but that's kind of what I'm thinking could work, or it could look like it would work.
Intriguing shout nonetheless, yes. Johnny, do you agree with his take? And obviously, who do you go for at right back and left back? I need some shouts as well.
Like I agree with the left back. I think Kirkes has to play. The thing that's kind of pissing me off with Kirkes though is the reason last year why he was probably one of, if not the best left back, he's allowed to bomb
Yeah.
forward.
Yeah.
I don't
Exactly.
remember a time we've seen him bomb forward once this year. Like, I don't know. But I still like Kirkez. I like him a lot. I think he should and will be our starting left back. Like, Robertson is just getting, what is he now? Someone just said 32. Like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe for
Yeah.
FA Cup games, League Cup games, Champions League games when they don't mean anything if we've already qualified, etc. Yeah, I just think Milos Kirkez is our left back for now. The right back situation though is a funny one for me because, like Wall said, with Salah not tracking back, you don't really get an attacking right back at the same time. Conor Bradley, I love Conor Bradley, but I don't know. I don't know what you guys thought. I thought today he was quite poor, really going forward. If anything,
Couldn't agree more.
So I don't really know what to do with the right back because you play Frimpong. Frimpong is way more attacking than he is defensively. Granted, when he has played right back for us this season, I think he's been decent defensively. He's been okay. I just want to float an idea, as Craig did. Not Curtis Jones, but I'm kind of confused why Joe Gomez is not being spoken about.
Okay. All right.
Like,
Yeah, good point.
I don't.
Good point.
In my opinion, Champions League game against Frankfurt, why not just stick Joe Gomez in the right back slot? See what happens. What's the worst that can happen?
Yeah,
I know we lose again,
right,
obviously,
yeah.
but like, I don't know. I feel like the right wing position as well is going to be changed midweek. I'd be kind of shocked. I think if Salah starts against Frankfurt away, so who knows? Maybe we'll get a player like, I don't even know who would come in on the right. That maybe we might even change the diff formation, but I don't know. In my opinion, give Joe Gomez a go. Like, see what happens. That's my idea.
That's very interesting. I see we're getting lots of shouts. First of all, let me just say hello to one of our day one watchers and viewers, which is Gary, who's saying Hugh Katika must start all games from now on. We have also Alan, who's saying all the subs are taking place so late in the game. That is true as well. We have Tolu over here saying that Slot is just blaming on low blocks again and again and again. And then obviously we have somebody else over here saying that the only positive from today's game is that Alexander Isak got some minutes, even though Artist Lot said that he's 100% fully fit now. And
Yeah.
I don't know really what's going on. One thing, if you're watching on Twitter, on X, we have almost 4,000 viewers, 3.9 thousand viewers. And on YouTube, we only have active like almost 10 viewers right now. So make sure you're commenting, make sure you're going to YouTube. So now, while that we have you here, I want to ask you something. I want to get into the starting lineup. I want to see who is your starting lineup after today's game. Who are the players that are going to stay in this starting 11? So, lots of shouts. So, just give me your starting 11, your ideal starting 11 from now on.
Yeah, to be honest, I wouldn't change a lot in terms of. For me, I would always start Frimpong. This is why I question a lot about Slot, and his name's starting to pop into my head a lot when I'm starting to watch these games because you went out. So we've got this plan at the beginning of the season, right? We're going to spend X amount. We're going to bring this player in. You're going to coach X player, right? So it's your job just to coach the players. So we brought Frimpong in. And now he doesn't seem the type that he doesn't trust. Like, why have we gone out to get Frimpong in the first place, right? But for me, Frimpong should start always because I think physically he's better than Bradley. He's faster than Bradley. He's more attacking than Bradley. And for me, defensively, there isn't that much of a difference. So let's say there was 4 out of 5. I'd say Frimpong gets like 80% of the attributes towards than Bradley, right? But I do like Bradley. I just think he's a shell of himself lately. But I think the back line is exactly how I would have it. The midfield 3, I would have Wirtz in there regardless. I think McAllister has, I don't know, it seems like it's all of his powers are just completely gone. He doesn't look like the player that he was last season. I don't know if he's carrying an injury or something's happened to him, but that player that was so confident on receiving the ball and pinging it about, he's now receiving the ball and he's so hesitant in terms of what he's doing, and he doesn't seem to be tackling as much. And yeah, McAllister's a huge worry. So the midfield 3 of Gravenberch, Slobosly, and McAllister, I would swap one of those for Wirtz maybe. But that front 3 was that for me was a sackable offence. Like, those front 3 are the most uninformed front 3 we have at Liverpool Football Club, and you decide to play them at home against United when Etitike's got, his aura at the moment is ridiculous. Like, his touching goal. Even when he came on, the first 30 seconds, everyone's up off their seat because he nearly scored. How you don't start Etitike is a worry. I would even go as far as to say if it was between Etitike and Isak, start Etitike then. Like no one's going to say anything if it really has to go down to Etitike and Isak. But to bench Etitike and then to bench Vert as well is like a slap in the face. For me, I'll throw something out there as well and start Chiesa for me. I think Chiesa was one, perhaps maybe then Salah because of his Salah seems to be dropping off. So I would have a front three of maybe Etitike on the left, Isak and Chiesa and see how those three kind of play out together. Because Gakpo, he's a good player on his own, right? I don't mind Gakpo, but for me, it's like his overall game doesn't complement people around him. So he received the ball, right? He receives it, he touch, and then he cuts back so much where Isak and Salah are just way ahead of everybody, and then everybody else is like they have to track back now to keep up to the play with him. So I think Gakpo's a good player, but a good singular player rather than a team player where, Luis Diaz, for example, he was such a team player where his first instinct was always to assist Nunes or to find Salah and then score. He was so like proactive just going forward where I don't think Gakpo complements the front three as much as Luis Diaz do, but I think Chiesa complements the front three more than Gakpo does. So for me, yeah, Etitike, Isak, and Chiesa.
Interesting. Now, I do want to ask Johnny, are you in the same boat? I know somebody was mentioning Chiesa and Awal mentioned Chiesa. Should we drop Mohamed Salah and should Federico Chiesa be the regular starter now in the team? Or what are your thoughts, especially in that front line? Because there's so many discussions regarding that front line. What do you think?
I think the front line is just like, it feels like there's two. Like, you remember the PSG team a couple of years ago with Mbappe, Neymar, and Messi, and like some reason just wasn't clicking. It feels like it's just kind of similar with Isak, Salah, and Cody Gakpo there. Although I kind of disagree with Wall there. I think Cody Gakpo today, if the post wasn't a thing, he would have had 3 goals today. Like,
yeah.
I thought today every time he got the ball, he cut in. When he hasn't got anything, he's took a shot. Okay, any other day he scores a hat trick.
Johnny, before sorry to cut you off. Before this game, what were your thoughts on Cody Gakpo? Do you think he should have started?
Good question.
Oh yeah, okay, that's a fair one.
I don't want to contradict you. I'm just saying.
No, so if I'm being completely honest, no. Like, if I'm talking pregame, I wanted to see Ekitike, Isak, and at the time I wanted to see Salah. I think most people did. Like Wall said, like, Ekitike's just got this aura about him lately. Like, why is he not starting? It seriously confused me. Like, even for France, midweek, he gets the, I know he just a simple tap pass to Mbappe for his assist, but like, when he's playing for France, he looked good from what I had seen. He's one of the most informed players for us, actually. Like, I don't know. I couldn't believe that he wasn't on the starting team sheet there. As for Mo Salah, man, oh my God, it's just a shadow of a man from last season. It's like he played so well last year just to get that contract, and now he's like, okay, I got it. I can kind of just chill out now. And even some of the comments that he said during the season that he's more focused on the Champions League, thinks Arsenal's the favourite. Like, I don't want to see that as a Liverpool fan. I want to see him say we're favourites. I want to see him say we're going to win everything. Yeah. But if we're talking the next game, Frankfurt away, I'm dropping Salah personally, and I think Chiesa should get a go. I think Chiesa, every time he's come on, has been good. The effort that he puts in, he came on, I think it was like the first 20 seconds he was on today. He's sprinting around the field as a right winger, sprinting around the field, trying to get that ball back.
Did he get an assist today as well, by the way?
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Yeah, he did.
Yep.
I think Chiesa has to start next game. Drop Salah, like, and it sounds weird to say to drop Salah because it's Mohamed Salah at the end of the day, like, but yeah, I think for Frankfurt away, start him on the bench, get Chiesa in there. I'll put Ekitike on the left, Isak up front. Yeah, see how that goes, and Vert's in behind as well.
Now,
that's what I put in the midfield.
I really like what you guys are saying, Wall and Johnny as well, because I do agree with almost everything. But there's one player that there hasn't been much opinions out there, not only on social media, but also here in our discussion and just in general. And that's where I want to ask Craig. Craig, when it comes to the midfield, I know Johnny was saying, or Wall was saying, we should just rotate either Verts, Gravenberg, and somebody else. Here's where I come in and I say, I haven't really seen much from Alexis McAllister to get the starting spot. And I think a different player, like whether it's Jones or whether it's Szoboszlai, should be the immediate starter. But that's where I want to ask you, who should be the midfield three, and should McAllister? What is your overall thoughts on McAllister? Should he keep his spot or no?
So it's two lines of thought. If we're going to do a midfield three, then McAllister needs to be out, I think. As of right now, I just don't think his form is nearly what it needs to be. He obviously missed the preseason, which Arne Slot loves to wax poetic about. Which is fine. It just at this point, it's growing on the point of excuse making for me. It's getting a little frustrating. So if we are operating that midfield three, I do think it needs to be McAllister goes out. It's Gravenberch, Zoboslai, and it's Wirtz. However, if we want to do something where we stick Wirtz on the left wing and we start Isak and Ekitike as a striker winger over on the right, and then we have Wirtz float in and almost create a diamond where Isak and Ekitike are up front, I'd also really like to see that. If we're going to do the midfield three, though, of Wirtz, Zoboslai, Gravenberch, then yeah, I think it's Ekitike on the left, Isak in the center, and Chiesa on the right at the next game at Frankfurt. I'd also be like fine to have Gakpo on the left and Ekitike through the center. Like we have optionality. That's the nice thing about this team. There's tactical depth and there's a decent bit of attacking depth, so we can rotate guys. I don't want Salah to be starting. I don't know. Like his positioning on the pitch this season is so confounding to me. He's nowhere near the corner of the 18-yard box. He's constantly receiving the ball high up the pitch. And you can't expect a 33-year-old winger who dominated in the corner of the 18-yard box last season to now change his game, drop him 10 yards back, and then take on athletic fullbacks. It's just like a complete change in system for him, I feel like. And also our press is so lacking up front because of like his freedom to not have to press, and guys like Gakpo and Isak, and they're not the greatest pressers as is. So having a guy like Chiesa up there would be really nice. And that's also why I kind of like the idea of Wirtz off the left, because Wirtz is a decent engine as a presser too. So I don't know. There's a lot of options, but that's kind of how I would go with it.
And Craig, has Cody Gakpo redeemed himself after today's game?
So I weirdly enough, I don't think he was ever in a situation to need to redeem himself. Like I think he's been solid. It's just the thing with Gakpo is he is so incredibly predictable. We know it's going to happen. And I think everybody's kind of accurate in their assessment that he doesn't really have this interplay ability as a guy like Ekitike or Wirtz would have on the left. You get a guy like them over there on the left, and suddenly that 1-2 with Kirkaz bombing behind them is a hell of a lot scarier. You know what I mean? You're gonna have somebody who's going to be able to slip in a pass to Kirkaz, or maybe Isak is able to come up out of the center forward position and do interplay with Wirtz or Ekitike on the left. I just don't see that in Gakpo's bag. You know what I mean? Like I just don't see that in Cody's tool chest. So I think he's been like one of our most consistent players this season. My problem is I don't know if the level that he's at is at the level that Liverpool needs to be at. He's a very consistent, solid player. I just don't know if he is a Liverpool left winger, despite him having solid goal contributions this season. A lot of the time, it just kind of feels like the ball's fallen to him. I don't know. I don't know.
I really like the fact that we all have different assessments when it comes to Cody Gakpo. For me, he hasn't really impressed me as much, but there's others that I obviously see there's talent there, there's threat in there. But just like Craig just said, he's becoming very, very unpredictable. Very similar, and this is going to be a little bit of a disrespectful comparison, but very similar to Arjen Robben at Bayern. You just knew he was going to cut in that wing, so you expected it. Obviously, he was so good at it. But we're at a point where we need more unpredictability, and that's where this comment comes in. And I want to ask, Wall. So, Alan, obviously, I'm going to say first before. Let me just say hello to everybody. There's lots of first-time viewers. Andy, I'm seeing Thelsman23 saying hello after so long. Everybody, make sure you're subscribing. Alan as well. On X, there's 5,100 viewers. On YouTube, we have 7 viewers, so make sure you go to YouTube, you subscribe, and you comment. Wow. You see that comment over there that somebody said? So we need unpredictability, just like Craig was actually hinting at. why not bring in Rio more often to get more experience and to add that little bit of spark in games?
Yeah, listen, I've so I watch a lot of games with my brother, and I said, I remember there was 1 or 2 games where he came on for literally like 5-10 minutes, and I always say he's done more in 5 to 10 minutes than Gakpo has done in the whole match, and that's because, again, it's not because Gakpo isn't a good player. I do agree he is a good player, but for me it's more the team dynamic in the front three. I grew up with like a good kind of partnership. Even like Mane, Salah, and Firmino, they all complemented each other in and out, in and out. Gakpo plays his own game. Now and again, he will assist for sure. But I feel this cut back, touch, shoot, cut back, touch, shoot. It's a constant recycle. Yes, he'll get a goal here and there. Amazing. But for me, if you have someone like Etatike Vert or Rio, like you said, I think Rio's just too much pressure when it gets like the tense games and his body, his strength on his body. I think it's just too much. Like, great player for sure. But just right now, it's just too much. Like, what we're even have conversations about this when we just won the league last year is crazy. It's almost like as if we finished near enough relegation last year, and we have to throw in a 16, 17-year-old. Like, what? We just won the league last year, and all of a sudden we've got all the issues in the world. Like, this is where, for me, it comes down to how was Slot not sat down at the beginning of the season and was like, this is my starting 11. I'm not changing. I'm going to coach the hell out of the starting 11. Everyone's going to know when to go and when to move, and we're going to stick to this no matter what. We're all having questions like, oh, maybe we should play this person here and that person there and put Slobosite right back and we're all just constantly changing things. It's like, this is my biggest worry. We should have sat down at the beginning of the season like, this is our starting 11. If we're going to get Isak and Etatike, who looks like the same player, if that's the plan, then have a plan around it. Don't buy the two and then all of a sudden we need to figure things out around it and do this, and this. So, yeah, Rio's a good shout. I like the kid, but, to throw him week in, week out on a, December 24th or 26th Boxing Day, and it's a nighttime game for a 16-year-old kid to start against, Bournemouth away. It's just too much demand, and then you're playing 3 days after to start him every week. I would say, like, for sure, bring him in now and again. But beginning, my point was always to have. Oh, I'll just change cameras. My point was, I would have. My thing was, if we didn't buy Isak, my biggest worry is to have a solid left winger. I think we were all like Gahey for sure, but I think we would have been way better in terms of dynamic play in the front three than buying an Isak. Like, yes, it's a great signing. He's a great player, but that left winger situation, I think we just missed the trick and missed the boat on a huge, even like the left winger, I think Semedo, he would have been a great addition to the squad. So I think it's just a couple of questions that we don't need to be having this conversation when we win the league. So for me, again, I point the arrow towards Slot a little bit in terms of what are we doing here. Oh, you're on mute there, Dan. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm not hearing anything.
Oh, classic.
But I'm saying it's a fair
Been there,
point.
dude.
It's a fair point because last season we win the league with none of these new signings, and Federico Chiesa barely had an impact last season as well, and we won the league. Yet we keep the same team aside from Trent Alexander-Arnold, and suddenly shambles. So it's a very intriguing question, and I know somebody was asking here, and I'm going to pull up the comment in this for Johnny. So Johnny, Liverpool signed Alexander Isak for a record-breaking signing. He was the best striker in the league. He was the best striker in England and Newcastle as well. What are your thoughts so far on his performances? I mean, yeah, he's out of fitness, but shouldn't he already be performing or just delivering a little bit more now?
Yeah, I think there's an easy answer to this. Yes, he should be performing more. That one-on-one chance he has today, if that was last year in Newcastle, it's slotted in the back of the net. There's no excuses for today. He's like, I thought he should have scored. However, I feel like he's struggling to get the ball from behind him. So like today, until Wirtz came on, it felt like we had no creativity. And you could see he's like trying to make runs and nobody was passing the ball. There was a few times I remember, I can't remember if it was Szoboszlai or McAllister, they'd get the ball in the midfield, they'd start running forward, Isak's running, trying to make runs, and instead of trying a pass to Isak, it's just a sideways pass or is going backwards to the centre backs. And the amount of times today I've yelled at the TV when my wife sat next to me, I was like, "What are we doing here? Like, get the ball forward!" It's doing my head in. Like, Yeah, for Isak though, like I don't know. It's a lot of money that he's come for, a lot of expectations. He's he was last year the second best, if not the best striker in the league. Um, that's a lie. We have Mohamed Salah. I forgot about that. But yeah, so we'll go second best. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like what has he played now? 6, 7 games for Liverpool now, something like that. He's got
Something
one
like
goal, one
that, yeah.
assist, 1 goal, 1 assist, 1 goal in the League Cup, and an assist last week, against Chelsea, sorry, which in my opinion I thought was fluky, but we'll leave it
Yeah.
at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I want to see something different with the forward line. I want to see Isak banging the goals in. Um, like, why not put him next to Ikatike? Put him next to him. Who
So
knows?
Johnny,
When was the
are
last time we
you
saw?
do you just keep him regardless of his performances right now?
He's gonna be kept in no matter what because of his price tag. We could sit
Yep,
here and
has
say,
to.
yeah, he should be on the bench. I can tell you right now, Alexander Isak will not be on the bench a lot this season, just for his price tag. Like, and the
Yeah.
quality of player that he is as well. I think the difference, people will probably say, okay, well, why is Wirtz on the bench then? I feel like the difference with Wirtz is he's younger. He's also just come from the German league. It's a completely different league. Isak is built in the Premier League, a bit older. So I personally think Isak will come good. It's Alexander Isak. He's too good not to come good, in my opinion. I would keep him in the team, but I just think we change around him personally.
Interesting. Very, very good point right there. And obviously, there's just so much stuff that we can keep dissecting and taking points from. We spoke about the whole midfield situation, about the whole frontline situation. But now my question is regarding the defense. The two center back pairings that we have at the back, Virgil van Dijk and Ibrahima Konate, obviously a shadow of what they were a few seasons ago. Virgil van Dijk, for the first time ever, I'm starting to see weaknesses on him. I'm starting to see that a lot of laziness on him, not walking, not putting much effort. He's my favorite player, by the way, in the whole squad. And I'm starting to see that he's not the player that he was. Maybe he's age. I don't know what it is. Here's where I ask you guys, if it comes down to next season, does Virgil van Dijk and Ibrahima Konate, do any of them keep their place in the starting 11, assuming they still have an extended contract extension? Well, yes or no, and why? And then Craig, and obviously Johnny after that.
Yeah. You made a good thing about assuming, because I assume that Konate is gone, but let's say assume like they both extend, right? I think Konate is. I think Virgil van Dijk, again, similar to the Salah situation, where age is just kind of. But you see defenders playing a little later on, so I'm not too worried about Virgil van Dijk than I am with Salah, for example, because Salah's such a explosive player, and with age that deteriorates a lot quicker than where Virgil van Dijk never really used pace now and again, but he was always the big type, to bring it down and play it from the back and read the game really well. So Virgil van Dijk will always start. I think we'll assess it for this season, maybe next season. I think there'll be strong conversation. That's why there was probably hesitations, right, in the contract. Maybe his data and science was showing there was a drop off in terms of the style of play. But I think Virgil van Dijk will start. For Konate, I think if you bring Guéhi in or someone at that kind of caliber, someone that's a very solid centre back, I think that's the competition for Konate. Maybe that's Konate assessing things and wanting to move on and be the starter for Real Madrid, because their back line is also pretty bad as well. So. For me, if you brought Guéhi in at the beginning of the season, it would have been a Virgil van Dijk Guéhi starting lineup for me. I think Guéhi's a solid centre back. He reads it, physically strong, reads the game really well. He rarely gets beat one-on-one. So for me, Konate has been great for sure. I'd say he's been a good player for us. But yeah, I think if you get the likes of Guéhi in, he starts for me week in, week out.
So Virgil keeps his place for you next season?
I think just because of his stature and his communication in the back line, you would have to, because it's the question of who else are you going to replace. Like if you bring Guéhi in with Konate, I don't see it's almost like choose your poison, as bad as that sounds, but it's choose your poison, right? If I start Guéhi with Konate, I think that's a bit of a mess almost, where with Guéhi and Virgil van Dijk, it's almost like they complement each other. The big header at the back with the pace. Virgil van Dijk would complement better with a partner than Konate would with another partner, I would say.
Interesting. Craig, do you agree? Do you think Virgil should keep his place if in a perfect world next season Konate stays? Also, I want to throw in the cheeky option of all the recent rumors of the Borussia Dortmund center back Nicholas Skloderberg, was it? I think is his name.
Slaughterback.
Yeah, yeah.
Slaughterback, yeah.
So, do these two center backs keep their place, or do you replace them both, or just one of them, Craig?
I think so. Virgil van Dijk to me stays. I think the weaknesses that we're seeing from Virgil this season, I don't know if they necessarily actually boil down to Virgil. I think they're more on his left back and the guy that's directly in front of him, and that's typically McAllister. I think they're getting caught in very difficult to track back positions, and that's putting Virgil on a lot of islands. Now, I'm not saying that Virgil has been great in those islands as he has typically been in the past. He's definitely started to slow down a little bit. Like he's still a Rolls Royce. He's just like a 2021. You know what I mean? Like he's still solid. He's still great. He's still the best center back in the league. Like I think everybody kind of thinks that, but I think he's not getting a ton of help around him. That said, I think Ibrahima Konate's gone. I don't necessarily see that coming to fruition, us bringing him back. There's obviously like the rumors that like we're getting close, and then the rumors will shut down, and then they'll restart and say like, oh, we're close to re-signing him. Like I just think it's very similar to somebody said earlier. It's super similar to the Trent situation last year. Like it's just hitting all the notes, you know. So you're seeing that. So I would personally love to see either Schlotterbeck or Gay next to Virgil. I think those are probably our two best options. I don't know who I would rather have, personally speaking. Both offer a lot to the game. Both Schlotterbeck is a ridiculous progressive passer. He is a monster. The angles that he's able to find are unbelievable, and Gay's obviously extremely good at that as well. So it's kind of just a matter of who's a better defender, and I think I'd probably just pick Mark Gay because he's more Premier League proven at this point.
Interesting, and obviously, I do think size does matter as well. And with Schlotterberg, I think he's a 6'4", 6'5" defender in comparison to Mark Gehi, who is 6'2", is just very similar to Joe Gomez, if I'm not wrong. Johnny, aside from Mark Gehi and Schlotterberg, is there any other player that you might fancy bringing at center back next season, or are you happy with Virgil and Gehi? What are you thinking?
I'll be honest, I haven't really thought about other centre backs other than Gahey. That one hurt. Not getting Gahey, like I was pretty upset. I was upset about that one.
Sad.
As for other centre backs, I don't really know who else is like going to be available around that time. I think the only other centre back that comes to mind that I personally kind of like is Konza from Aston Villa, but I don't. Again, not someone that I've really looked at and be like, oh my god, like get him. It is kind of along the lines of Schlotterbeck and Gahey, in my opinion, because I do think Kanai is gone. The flip side is though, if we're judging it off the league ended today, Liverpool finished fourth, don't win the league, whatever, then yes, I think Kanate, it doesn't start next year. Van Dijk for me is a starter no matter what. Captain on the team, his aerial presence is just unmatched. There are some times where I think against Chelsea and even today, like he let Mbeumo get in his blind spot. Sorry, allows Mbeumo just to run through. Now again, I don't know if he's thinking that Mbeumo was down on the ground, whatever. However, if Kanate puts in more performances like today throughout the season, then it's going to be hard to be like, oh, okay, let's just let him go to Madrid. Yeah. No, I think if we see the Kanate today for the rest of the season, I would still keep Kanate and Van Dijk going into next season. But again, I kind of agree with what both of these guys have just said. I do think Kanate's gone. I think his head's at another team, similar to Trent. I would bring in Gahey or Schlotterbeck for next season. Oh, you're muted again.
Good old Mike. Start that mute, yeah.
It's been a crazy day, guys. I'm frustrated already. But we do have to keep in mind, just like Johnny is saying, Konate is not just a random center back, right? So there's a reason that Real Madrid want him to be at the very base of their center back partnership long term, right? Yeah. If he could just get his form back up, which at this moment I just see it as very, very hard. I would be back in the train of keeping him, but at the moment, just looking at him is just a shadow of what he was in the past. Now, I do want to talk about one player that we completely forgot because of his injury, and that's Giovanni Leoni, We only saw him really display on his debut that he got injured. But can you guys see him be the starter next season, or it's too early to say? I mean, what do you guys think? Wall, any thoughts on Leone?
I really liked. Honestly, I mean, he even looks beautiful as well. It's all round, isn't it? He's a beautiful
He's
man, and he
so
plays
handsome.
beautiful.
He's so
Oh, it's
handsome.
ridiculous.
It's insane.
He's just like stacked. It's like he's stacked. He's beautiful. There's nothing wrong with him.
Like, what
it's almost
the
like
fuck?
God was like, right, here's an ACL injury. It's horrible, man. It's ridiculous. But yeah, man, I think injuries like that is horrendous. It could be like it determines your career almost. It's going to take him a whole year just to even start understanding the game again. You know, you're taking 1 year out of your life not kicking a ball. One whole year where everyone's almost like improving. Like a year of improving is a year of him just taking out. So I think it'll be 2 or 3 years before we even hear his name being in the team sheet like regularly. Like, listen, he'll probably come in a cup game here and there. You know these. But I don't, next season, probably the season after, we'll probably see more minutes. And then the season after that, where we could potentially, let's say hypothetically, he's unbelievable, we'll see a first starter. So I think 2 or 3 years before we see him fully in the squad, running the show at the back. I think that's one. I do have another maybe kind of curveball to throw at people in terms of the defensive issues. And Dan, maybe I see your thoughts on this as well in terms of, if we bought Gahey in as a free transfer, and there's always talk about McAllister potentially leaving to Barcelona. His dad's come out and was like, my dream for my son to move to Spain. Would you accept Gahey coming free, not spending that money for this Borussia Dortmund defender, and using that money for a world-class like Mascherano player who breaks the play and protects the back four, basically? Because that has always been my image of like Liverpool, where we had a Mascherano, Fabinho, someone that when we're on the counter-attack, we just seem so soft and we're constantly tracking back. We don't have that gutsy play to break up play all of a sudden and collect it. Gravenberch is like that to a certain degree, but I'd love to have like a real solid defensive midfielder, like a dog in there.
Are you hinting maybe in Adam Wharton, maybe? Well,
yeah, Chris,
Carlos
absolutely.
Baleba, either or.
But for me, I think just use your money wisely again and almost like complete this team where we have a solid defensive. Like bring Gahey in free, so there's no money being spent. Then you got Gahey and Virgil van Dijk, and then just have someone literally sitting right in front of them, like screening. And then you got the fullbacks to bomb forward how we usually do, and you've got this guy Mascherano type play just breaking up play continuously.
No, that's a good point. I mean, there is something, at least a theory that I have in mind, because when we were looking at bringing Moises Caicedo last year or 2 years ago, or whenever that happened, we still had Ryan Gravenberch in the team. So we're still looking to bring that defensive midfielder. I think it was James Spears or somebody else that came out saying, no, now that we have Gravenberch, we're not looking for like a solid CDM defensive midfielder. But I do think that the team is incomplete. That is a really good point that you're saying, because Endo is a great player that just can come in and out of minute 80, minute 70 cup games, but we don't have the start CDM player that Liverpool really need. Now, what happens when you do bring an Adam Wharton or whatever it is? What happens to McAllister? What happens to Szoboszlai? What happens to Curtis Jones, who now is starting to break through? So we already have an issue with all these stars, but I would love to bring somebody in that we can just rely on. And I was so bummed down when we missed out on Caicedo. Now, that's a really good question, guys. Do you guys think next season our priority should be bringing in a CDM, a defensive midfielder that can just break the lines in midfield? Craig, Johnny, what do you guys think? Craig?
Yeah, so the video that I just did, actually, I kind of went into like a little bit of a detailed breakdown on that whole Alexis McAllister position. And the team would look genuinely, like, I hate to say it because McAllister's been one of my favorite players since I started watching the club. I've been a very big fan of his, but I think the team just functions so imperfectly with him in that spot. Like, he's not a super like, he gets in a lot of uncomfortable positions in the transition because he's not physical enough to defend wingers. He doesn't provide a tremendous amount offensively. He's very, very solid box to box, but he doesn't stand out at anything. And the way that our team's currently set up is all of our players stand out at something. And if you're not going to stand out at something, you're going to need to be replaced with somebody who does. So having a guy like Adam Wharton, who's a monster at ball progression in that position and can track back defensively pretty solidly, or even, I don't want to say Baleba is even better because they're two totally different guys, but Carlos Baleba, he's not going to offer the passing range and the progression that a guy like Wharton would, but he's a defensive, like, he's not perfect defensively. He still makes some gaps, but he's a hyper athlete. He's a freak. Having a guy like that who's able to track back with wingers, able to provide like was mentioned, you're able to just have somebody who's a bigger disruptor, a bigger muscular guy in the center who's willing to win the ball back and fight for it. I think that's kind of what the position needs to become the way we're set up.
He's been great at Brighton, and obviously, and same with the Crystal Palace with Wharton as well. And it's just going to be very intriguing to see what's going to happen in that position, because now, despite Liverpool just splashing cash on the transfer market, it seems like we need a number of players again. We need a Salah replacement. We need two center backs. We need a CDM, just like Lawal started saying. We need so many positions to be filled. Johnny, what about you? As soon as the summer transfer window begins next season, should we go for a CDM? What do we do? What's the priority? What should Liverpool really do? Where should we splash the cash? If there's anything.
So I kind of agree with everyone else. I think Adam Wharton is my dream. Do I think it's going to happen? It depends who leaves in the summer. I think if we end this next summer transfer window, and McAllister, Gravenberch, and Szoboszlai are still there, I wouldn't be upset about it. They're still amazing players. I think McAllister is. I think a lot of people are kind of overlooking what McAllister as a man has gone through this summer. He's lost. Yes. He's the closest with Diaz and Nunes. They've gone.
Yeah.
Also, his close friend of his, Diogo Jota, sadly passes away. God bless him. But so you got to think about. And if I'm right, didn't he just have a baby as well? Like, yes. I'm not looking to make excuses for McAllister's performances here, but like there are. The player from last season, we're obviously not seeing that this season. It's definitely causing causes for concern. Players that I would bring in, though, in the transfer, if hypothetically one of Gravenberch, Szoboszlai, or McAllister do leave, I will tell you what, we've already taken their best player. Why not go in for someone like Tonali or Bruno Guimaraes? That type of gritty player, man. I would love it. Yeah. I would love it because the amount of Newcastle fans that would just have meltdowns, it'd be sensational. I think out of the two, personally, I would love Tonali. That's probably the dream. That's probably the one that I think won't happen. But like, if I had to pick a crazy transfer, that would be someone like that, though. I think realistically, maybe an Adam Wharton, maybe a Baleba type player for next summer. Someone just to do the dirty work, get the ball, progress it forward, and then let players like Wirtz just do their thing, create.
I do think that, Johnny, that after last summer, I do think Newcastle have blocked our number completely from their.
Wouldn't be surprised.
100%. Very good point.
Yeah.
But let's just dive into the very last questions. And I know we've been up for almost 52 minutes, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Currently on X, we have 7,000 viewers. On YouTube, we only have 10. Again, 7, 8, 9. We have increased a few subscribers on YouTube, though. So if you're watching on X, just go to the reply. You should just click on the content in there. And obviously, after this goes live, so I'll edit. I'll make sure you guys can see everybody's handle, so you guys can go and subscribe as well to everybody. You guys are amazing so far. So let's just close this down with this Wednesday. So this Wednesday on this next Wednesday, we're facing Frankfurt, right? So it's an intriguing match because we just took Hugo Ekitike from them. We were talking to one of our close mates at the Frankfurt podcast. They were saying that they're having a lot of issues defensively, and this might be the time for us to actually go out there and attack. But at the same time, Liverpool are having lots of issues everywhere at this point, like midfield of everywhere. What are you guys looking ahead? Or do we rotate on Wednesday? Do we keep this lineup? Do we rest players? What do we do? Where is your guys' heads at? And I know it just finished with Johnny, but Johnny, let's start us off with this one. Where do you look at Liverpool basically standing up against Frankfurt this Wednesday?
I think we're going to see changes this next game. I'd like to see us have more control and be more attacking. I think out of everything, just control. Don't panic when balls are coming into our box is probably the biggest one. Seems like we're panicking a lot, especially with set pieces. Um, the back post, be nice if left back or right back can track their runner, so we're not getting a back post goal. Um, yeah, I think for me personally, I want to see Ekitike and Isak playing together. I want to see Verts with them as well. I would, I'd want to see Frimpong, I think, play on the right as a right back. Midfield, Verts is coming in for me. McAllister's dropping out, I think. Gravenberg and Soberslai in that midfield. Left back, Kirkez, centre backs. I wouldn't be mad if we gave Kanate a break, personally. Like maybe throw in a Joe Gomez there. But again, I also wouldn't mind. We do need to win at the end of the day. So probably should have Kanate and Van Dijk in that as that pairing. Yeah, I just want to see a good performance. I feel like this season, I know we won the first 5 games, but we haven't seen a good Liverpool performance. I want to see like a nice 2-3-0 win, defensively good, attackingly good, just controlled, and that's my hope for Wednesday. But if that happens, judging off the last 4 games, probably not going to happen. But I can have hopes.
Craig, do you rotate at all? Are you playing any other different players that we haven't seen today, maybe against Frankfurt?
No, all the guys that we saw today are definitely in like my idea. So I think it's Ekitike on the left, Chiesa on the right, Isak through the center. You want to have Wirtz behind him, so same midfield that Johnny mentioned. I think you want Kirkez and Frimpong out there. I like the idea of Frimpong out there because he is used to Bundesliga competition, and Frankfurt being a team that he's played against and has had success against would be nice to get him back out there. I also just like he came in today and it like not immediately, but he had this like nice little blooping cross that almost netted us a goal on the back post. So I just think he offers a lot. And then the only other area that I'm like kind of on the fence of is the Kanate Gomez situation. I want to get Joe Gomez more minutes because the couple minutes that he's been out there, he seemed a little bit like corpse-ish. You know what I mean? Like he's kind of hasn't been the greatest so far. His rhythm's been pretty poor, and I think this could be a good game to get him in that rhythm. But Kanate's coming off the back of solid performance today, so I kind of want to let him ride that out and continue playing well and get more into positive shape. So I think I'd probably keep Kanate in there, and I just like I think Ekitike needs to be in because I know for a fact Ekitike is going to want to score in front of the Frankfurt crowd. He is going to be hungry and he's going to be very excited about it. So I want to see him there because I just fucking love Hugo Ekitike. It's that simple.
And also, it's a good point. I mean, we should play our Bundesliga guys. Wall, do you agree on keeping Ekitike, Frimpong, and Wirtz against Frankfurt?
Yeah, absolutely. I think what we learned from last year is not to kill ourselves in terms of. I think last year we went all gun ho on the Champions League. We finished first place and we were like, this is amazing. Like, you know, and then we got to like, we qualified and we faced like the best teams anyway. So I think this is a chance to maybe mold our team. I'll keep the back four in terms of put Frimpong in there because I think we got Brentford like 3 days away later at 8 o'clock in the evening. So the team that plays on Wednesday could easily recover and play on Saturday night. So for me, I would mold a team in terms of Frimpong, the 2 centre backs, no rest, and then Kirkez, and get them kind of just, this is your back four from now on. This is what we're going to stick with. I think there might be an issue with Gravenberg maybe because he came off and I know the ankle looked a bit nasty. So I'm not too sure if he's going to start. He'll probably rest him regardless because, you know, we're so heavily reliant on him. So I'd probably go with Curtis Jones and maybe Sloboslai to sit in the midfield with Wirtz just in front of him. And then the front three of, like you said, Chiesa, Isak, and Ekitike, just let them three play. And now and again, maybe swap Isak with Chiesa. You could probably do that. But that team should just be week in, week out, molded, and use the Champions League. Like, I think you can maybe lose 2. I think PSG last year looked absolutely horrendous in the Champions League, if I can't remember correctly. And everyone's like, this team, what PSG, we're going to absolutely run out. I think Arsenal beat them at one point as well. And everyone was like winning, like they lost 2 or 3. And then it got to January where they molded their team and they were just like, now the momentum's coming. And I think we need to use that. Like the Champions League, these early stages are great. Like these teams like Frankfurt, it's great, like competition. Go out there, mold a team, and don't just kill ourselves with the same plays week in, week out. Use this almost like a high intensity training session, as not to be disrespectful to Frankfurt, obviously a really good team, but it's a chance for us to really kind of experiment now and get this momentum with the same team going.
Well, and just as a shout, do you play, or is there any instance where you see us playing in where we see us playing Joe Gomez, maybe what Tato Endo now that Ryan Gravenberch had a little nod, and maybe Chiesa? Do you see Chiesa up there?
Chiesa for me, 100%. I really like Chiesa. I think he's. Don't forget about No, that's a bit too much. I think 4 or 5 years ago he was in talks of Ballon d'Or. So this isn't a player that It was 2020. He's a Ballon d'Or player, and he's rated like 100 million at one point. He's one of the best players in the world. He's had a bad injuries here and there, but he's still got that touch, that vision, and he's had a healthy year to get healthy again. And every game he's played in, I want to see the statistics in this. I'm sure he's assisted or scored in majority. I think it's like 80% of the games that he's come into. So, or he's had some sort of impact. Even like the Newcastle where he touches it around the corner and stuff. And he's been such an impactful player. So I'd love for him to start for sure. For me, Joe Gomez is. I think you leave him from the cup competitions and just let them games like tie over and let people rest. Similar with Watu, I think you've just got to let. Those are the type of players where it's like a bye week in NFL. Just let them type of players rest. Let them carry on. We'll fill in for this week. If we're out the cup, we're out the cup. Like, we've got bigger worries to worry about now. So for me, yeah, I'd keep Joe Gomez. He's a long servant. He's a filler for me, and so is Watu. But Chiesa for sure should have at least half a game or start.
Interesting. And the very last thing that I want to ask, just to close down for everybody. So the only thing that I see that everybody agrees on except me is, so all of you guys are okay with keeping Kirkis against Frankfurt then? Because I want to see Robertson. I'm not convinced with Kirkis yet, but everybody seems like they're still on the boat with Kirkis. Craig, Johnny, Wall, we're cool with Kirkis next match, or do you want to see a little bit of rotation?
No, I want to keep Kirkis in. Personally, I wouldn't be mad if Robertson played. I just think that Kirkes out of our, I think Craig said it earlier, out of our fullbacks, he is the best out of the 3. Out of him, Bradley and Frimpong. So I'd keep Kirkes in personally.
Craig?
It's kind of a toss-up because Kirk has played a tremendous amount today and his work rate was pretty high, I thought. So, it's not a bad idea to get him rested because the next game at the weekend against Brentford is a must-win. Just call it what it is, but it's a must-win. If we don't win that game, it looks really dreary. So I wouldn't mind spelling him maybe in the 60th minute to bring Robertson on, provided that we're comfortably we're in a comfortable position. But unfortunately, the comfortable positions haven't been super comfortable this year, fellas. So I don't really know if we're going to have that luxury.
Yes. Wall as well.
Yeah, I agree with you where I think potentially Robertson will play. I think he will start Robertson. But for me, it's like when Robertson first started, you just have to throw him out there. We bought him for the X amount. He's a young player. He needs to gain these legs. We have to go through the pain almost just to see him come out the other end. Maybe, you never know. He might score like a screamer, assist a great goal, has a great game, and then his confidence. I think the shirt is so heavy on him where he's constantly thinking. You see, when he was at Bournemouth, he never thought. He just he knows what he's doing. He's got a system. He's bombing forward. He's tracking back. He was unbelievable. I remember looking at him, and I was like, no way Liverpool going to get him. I thought he'll go somewhere else, but the fact that we got him and now he's looking like this type of player, I was like, there's something there that he's either constantly thinking about or worried about, or the shirt's a bit too heavy for him. And I think if you just say to him, here's another Champions League game, here's another game, we're not swapping you. We're going to keep you in, week out. We know what the type of player you are. So I think you just throw him in there again and just try to get him that momentum going.
Very good. Very good. I like today's discussion, guys.
Yeah.
We just went a little bit over an hour. I think we expected this to happen. We said 25, 30 minutes, but come on, guys. We're probably going to go over an hour. Super fun, though. I mean, done for the viewers, everybody that's watching on X and YouTube. This is not the last time we're going to see Johnny and Craig and obviously Wall. There's some huge things that we're cooking. We're still getting stuff sorted here and there. So I'm not going to throw any claims out there. All I'm going to say is that you're going to see more videos from us weekly for sure. And Craig, Johnny, I'm going to put their handles in the description as well so you guys can check out their content. Other than that, guys, thank you so much. From myself, Wall, Johnny, and Craig, we'll see you guys again in the next video. You'll never walk alone. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.